In a recent interview, Conan O'Brien was asked how he deals with self-doubt. And I couldn't just sit here and do nothing. I'm a mindset coach. I work with entrepreneurs and help them grow their business by boosting their confidence and letting go of self-doubt. And I've had enough of Conan pretending to be a coach. I see you, Conan. I've listened to your Needs a Friend podcast. I've seen you give people life advice.
I had a really big struggle with my self-esteem, with my confidence, with my anxiety.
I'm glad you're out there being a good person and being a funny person and mostly being a fan of mine.
Mostly.
Yeah. I mean,
Mostly.
that is the most important, to me, sign of mental health is that.
Oh my God.
No wonder you have no friends. Just because you're not on TV, you can't just go after people's jobs. Besides, we all know who the real coach in that show is.
I'm shy. How do I overcome it? You become an extrovert. How do I teach my teenage boys to have better hygiene? When I think of teenage boys, I just think of them masturbating all the time.
Let's get to the bottom of this.
So, how can I help you, sir?
So I watched the hour-long special on how you got late night, and I wanted to know, after those first early tenuous years, when did you realize that you were good and kind of gain some confidence?
It took a super long time, to be honest with you. And it's funny because I remembered a young person, they had a bunch of college students come in just a few years ago when we were doing the show over at Warner Brothers, the Conan show, and
Yeah, the fact that you always want to improve, the fact that you have some degree of perfectionism, a consequence of that is that you're never going to feel good enough. That left unchecked can really, really affect both your business and your life in a very negative way. But a bit of that perfectionism, a bit of that, oh, I want to be better than yesterday, that's tremendously powerful. So knowing, like, having the distinction between when you have too much or maybe too little is very powerful. So yeah, I agree with you, Conan, on this one.
she said, when does the nervousness and self-doubt end? And I said, I have really bad news for you. There's always some of that, you know? So,
Yeah.
we had kind of...
No matter what level you're at as an entrepreneur or, even in your career, you're never going to feel like you don't have self-doubt. Because every next level, when you want to grow, you will deal with self-doubt. And that's okay. Because you're expanding. That's a sign that you are challenging yourself and you are expanding. So it's a great feeling. It's a feeling to actually celebrate when you are doubting yourself, because it means that you're tapping into courage. You're about to tap into resources that you had no idea you had.
A interesting introduction to late night television. It was, at the time, a really big deal that an unknown person was getting this show. And so I kind of had to learn how to do the job in front of everybody. And man, people had very strong opinions, many of them negative. But young people really liked it. And I think that...
Yeah, I kind of know the feeling, because when I started, one of my coaches said, oh, you're a mindset coach. I had no idea what kind of coaching I wanted to offer. I was teaching personal development combined with martial arts. And I told him kind of what I did for my martial arts clients. And the guy said, oh, you're a mindset coach. And I said, okay, great, I'm a mindset coach. And then I went on Google and typed in, what is a mindset coach? It took me years to really understand this concept, this identity of being a mindset coach.
That was nice, but I didn't know that. I was not aware of that, and I only found out about it till much later on, when those young people grew up into and became really successful comedians. And they would say, oh, your show, we used to watch your show all the time. That was the show we really loved. And I was like, why didn't you tell me? Why, John Mulaney, why didn't you tell me? It's like, I was 9. Why would you have listened to a 9-year-old? And I said, I would have listened to anybody.
That's true. Especially when you get like negative comments. It's funny how online negativity is so viral. If you're watching this and you are creative, you know how important that is. Just kind of that bit of validation. But the next step, really the next level of that, is having that inner validation and knowing your capability, your value, regardless of the external circumstances. That's a level of inner strength and inner power that will really allow you to do things that feel impossible for you right now. And I would argue that if Conan, if you were watching this video when you started your career as a talk show host, the ride would have been a lot smoother for you, because you would have just known you are funny. Well, as a comedian, you always need more and more validation that you're funny, right?
I would have been so happy. So it took a while. It took a number of years, and to just, and insecurity and all those things that people have.
Yeah.
And I just like to be really honest about the fact that it never quite goes away. You're always hoping, is this good enough? Was that okay?
Yeah. And as an entrepreneur, your level of confidence is directly proportional to your income. And allowing that insecurity to take over is going to affect your income, your bottom line, in drastic ways. That's why it's a good idea to not just invest in getting the business strategies, but also to invest in the confidence and really understanding yourself and what makes you confident, and just amplifying that. Because there is no business without mindset. There is no business without confidence.
Just be better. I mean, it goes back to, I know it sounds like I was doing a bit, yelling at myself in the mirror at 3 o'clock in the morning, but that still happens. It doesn't go on too long because my wife's not having it. But yeah, there's some unhealthy elements probably that go into doing this day in and day out, and wanting it to be, special or good. And I think trying to figure all that out has taken me a long time. But
yeah, like we mentioned previously, allowing that level of perfectionism to take over your life will have negative, palpable consequences both in your relationships and your career. You will see your bottom line going down. It's good to know when too much is too much, and when to dial it back and say, you know what, maybe it's not my best work right now, maybe it's not special, but I know it's great because I've made it. Let me know if this makes sense.
Marrying the right person really helped. Having great kids,
that's also super important.
Helped, and getting some help really helped. I'm very vocal about that.
Very important. And as an entrepreneur,
should be very open to talk therapy.
Yeah. So that was my suspicion that he's talking about therapy. As an entrepreneur, therapy is important. Therapy, from my experience, working with people who have gotten therapy, and it's very beneficial. At the same time, it can only take you this far. If you're watching this and you're an entrepreneur, if you really want to make progress in your business, tangible progress, it helps to have someone who owns an actual business and knows what that feels like, what that level of responsibility feels like, because you have to perform both for your family and both for your team. Having conversations with someone who has that level of understanding is going to be a lot more beneficial, and it is going to be a great use of your time. If you are in therapy right now, by all means, continue doing it. But usually speaking, the breakthroughs that you have in therapy in a year, you would experience that through coaching in 1 or 2 sessions. Not to brag, but I'm telling you what people say, what the people I've worked with say.
If they need it, and if they do it responsibly, getting on meds, stuff like that, I think that has made a huge difference in my life.
This really goes to show that the people that you look up to don't have it together at all, and that's okay. The difference is knowing that you don't have it together and doing it anyway. That's what made those people reach those heights. And that's the reason why I stopped comparing myself to celebrities, influencers, and gurus. And funny enough, I started making a lot more money by ignoring the online business guru's advice. And I made a video talking about why I think you should do the same. So if you want to grow your business massively and fast, watch this video next. I see you, Conan. I see you. So stupid.